when the Democratic Federated Systems saw a chance to liberate the planet Logel from the Jovangelian Empire, they struck. Operation Cromwell was devised with this goal in mind. A rapid and overwhelming assault on the planet's defenders made it clear that the DFS would soon take the world. 3 years have passed, and it is still just a matter of time before the DFS frees the planet entirely. The Jovangelian defenders, insurgents and soldiers alike, holed up in the city of Hestiol. With one finishing push, the DFS would break them once and for all. The final battle was interrupted by the arrival of a third belligerent. CalazCon, the nomadic convention dedicated to the Calazar media franchise, surprises both weary combatants with a zealous onslaught. The con attendees and staff quickly occupy Hestiol and transform the city almost overnight. It has taken a month for the DFS forces to regain their footing. The squads in the Hestiol theater are called to do battle with CalazCon and any remaining Jovangelian resistance. This is their story. Welcome to CalazCon. I'm Austin Ramsey, the showrunner, editor for the legislature, and player of the Speaker of the House, Fabrizio Catana. This is episode 0 of CalazCon, where I will be explaining what this show is, its structure, and its background lore. If you want to better understand what awaits you, keep listening, but this episode won't be necessary for enjoying the show. First, I'll talk about the structure of the show, and then I'll cover the lore. The show is a Beam Saber megagame actual play series recorded between May 2023 and July 2024. What does that mean? Beam Saber is a forged-in-the-dark game about the pilots of powerful machines in a war that dominates every facet of life. They're trying to do their part and then get out physically and mentally intact. The organizations that perpetuate the war throughout all of known space are too incomprehensibly huge to take down. There is no winning the war. There is only surviving it. Hopefully, you can help others get out too. A megagame is a game that has way more people than other games of its type, usually operating in small manageable groups that affect each other. Often, there are multiple game masters, or referees, that oversee one group each, and one or more directors that manage all the groups as a whole. This creates a huge narrative that has close personal experiences for individual players and groups, and also wide-reaching events as the things that happen in one group affect the others. If you're here, you probably already know what an actual play series is, and this bit is already long enough. What does all that mean for CalazCon, the show that you're listening to? To start with, we're playing Beam Saber using the core rulebook and the Growing Conflict supplement. There are many wonderful supply drops by other game designers out there, but limits were needed to better fit the show. The we in this case are 31 performers across 6 different playgroups. 5 of those groups are mostly standard Beam Saber campaigns, while the 6th is using a modified version of the faction management rules in Growing Conflict to direct the other squads as their legislative representatives. Each squad will complete a mission, have a downtime, and then their representatives will vote on what all of the squads will do for their next mission. To get the full picture of the show, you'll want to watch or listen to every episode, but you could also follow only one squad if you really wanted to. Starting on Monday, August 5th, and for the first 2 weeks, we'll be releasing 1 episode every weekday, so you can get to meet all the squads as soon as possible. These weeks will cover the first mission of each squad. After that, each week will have 2 episodes, a part 1 on Tuesday and a part 2 on Thursday. These will be for the same squad, so the audience gets a complete mission or downtime every week. Once all the squads have gone through 1 mission and 1 downtime, there will be a week of legislative episodes where the future of the other playgroups will be decided. Then, it's back to the missions and mech pilots. Finally, I'll talk about emotional well-being because role-playing and actual play can sometimes get intense. Each squad has its own lines and veils, topics that are restricted in play, plus a list of show-wide ones, but these lists won't be made public. Just know that the players have discussed them. Every episode will start with a content warning that the show is about war, obsession, colonial occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. Episodes will have more specific content warnings in their description for things not covered by those three topics. So gun violence will not be specified as that's covered by war, but something like suicidal ideation will be listed. If you think we missed one, let us know and we'll consider adding it to that episode's list. Now, on to the lore. Over 1,000 years ago, humanity fled a dying Earth in Exodus ships. Many of these ships failed, but others banded together and formed the nucleus of the 5 factions. These are interstellar nations, each with their own political principles and organization. All of them believe that their methods hold the best possible future for humans, and wage war on the others to unite everyone under their banner. However, this show is primarily interested in only 3 of the factions. The Democratic Federated Systems is a representative democracy and the faction that the player characters will be fighting for. Whenever a planet gets fully incorporated into the DFS, whether by diplomacy or other means, it gets to vote on policies that affect the entire faction. There are also many lower-level legislatures that decide the course of their own jurisdictions, some as small as a single workplace, or, in the case of this show, a single theater of a war. The DFS initiated Operation Cromwell, a campaign to liberate the weakly garrisoned planet of Logel from the clutches of the Jovengelian Empire. It quickly became clear that the Jovengelian military in the system would be unable to stop the juggernaut that is the DFS Liberation Force, and many said the planet would be fully incorporated in 2 years. Operation Cromwell is now in its 3rd year. The DFS is winning, but slowly, and the cost mounts with each passing day. The Jovengelian Empire is an autocracy led by Regent General Bellarmine on behalf of the infant Empress, Her Highness Cascade IV. But they are both far away and behind enemy lines. The people of Logel no longer have the unbroken chain of command that they are familiar with, as even the heads of the remaining military forces have broken into squabbling. Nonetheless, most of the planetary forces have gathered in Hestial, making it the linchpin of the insurgency and the focus of our story. Every groundside DFS troop and AV that can be spared from garrisoning the areas already freed has been brought here. Many of the units are irregular, having been scraped together from several below-strength squads. The siege line is exhausted, both in spirit and equipment. Make do is the Army's unofficial motto, though fuck this is a close second. Both sides, however, were surprised by the arrival of a 3rd belligerent. A new fleet entered the system and smashed its way through the orbiting warships of the DFS and Jovengelians. Numerous transports and shuttles made planetfall in and around Hestial, disgorging fresh, zealous combatants. This sudden onslaught threw back the DFS as it prepared for a final push, and scattered the Jovengelian resistance. The attack was soon followed by a vast assortment of merchants, exhibitors, panelists, cosplayers, artists, and enthusiasts, all here to participate in CalazCon, the once a year, going by the Calazarian calendar, celebration of the Calazar media franchise. Storefronts were occupied by merchants selling Calazar plushies, porn, games, costumes, recordings, food, and much more. Stages in schools, stadiums, temples, and community centers became home to panels and lectures on topics such as subtext, is it real and does it matter? Who is best girl, Marwa, Jacob, or Kelly? And why Baron Bastardos should have had a redemption arc. Cafes, street corners, and parks have flocks of fans in costume arguing over whether Marwa would have defeated her parent if they hadn't been weakened by Aaron, and other similar topics. Homes and hotels were filled with all of the above, looking for a place to sleep, and the vast majority of them were armed. As CalazCon intensifies with each new wave of celebrants that arrives, the Jovangelians, both civilian and soldier, have been forced into taking guerrilla action against both the Calazar fans occupying their city and the DFS military surrounding it. Meanwhile, the DFS forces have been put on the back foot as they must re-examine their plans for assaulting Hestial, while also dealing with skirmishes from Calazar fans looking to recreate iconic battles from the series. With both sides wondering why this location was chosen for CalazCon, any fan can tell you that it's because Hestial shares a name with the city in Calazar Dreams of a Future Unbroken, episode 127, Shout! The City Trembles. It has now been 1 month since the arrival of CalazCon and its occupation of Hestial. As the attendees have settled in, the DFS and Jovangelians have regrouped. What the future holds for the year-long celebration of CalazCon is uncertain, except that those present will never forget the fans' unified voices cheering, "All glory to Calazar!"